Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting of the Regional Planning Commission to order. Debbie, could you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor Finan,
I'm here.
Joan Dykstra, Mayor
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Mayor Fruling-Vogus,
Present.
Patrick Brown,
Here.
Dennis Roberts,
Here.
Kyle Patterson, Darlene Kleppel, Jim
Kyle
Goss,
Kyle Patterson's here.
Here, Jim Goss.
okay, Will Kyles, Katina Wilcher,
Here.
Anna Olween, and Diane Marlin.
Present.
Thank you.
Next up is approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Sure, I'll make the motion. Dennis Roberts.
Okay, is there a second?
Dykstra.
Moved by Dennis Roberts, seconded by Joan Dykstra. Okay. Will Debbie, can you please call the roll?
Yes, and then for time, I think if okay, I will just call last names if no one has a problem with that. Finan,
Yes.
Dykstra,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Vogus,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Kleppel,
Yes.
Goss,
Yes.
Kyles, Wilcher,
Yes.
Olween,
Yes.
and Marlin.
Yes,
Thank you.
that motion carries. Next up is audience participation. Is there anyone who wishes to address this board? And I'm not sure I can see people. Is there anyone here from the public?
I don't see anyone, Mayor.
Okay. Appears not to be anyone here who wishes to speak. Next up is minutes for the January 22nd, 2021 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the draft RPC meeting minutes for that date?
So moved, Goss.
Okay. Is there a second?
Mayor Smith, second.
Okay. Moved by Goss, seconded by Smith. Any discussion? Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Finan,
Yes.
Dykstra,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Fruling-Vogus,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Kleppel,
Yes.
Goss,
Yes.
Kyles, Wilcher,
Yes.
Olween,
Yes.
and Marlin.
Yes, that motion passes. Next up is consolidated financial reports from Betty.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. So you have the consolidated financial report as of January 31st, 2021. Our fund balance at that point is $9.8 million. Our receivables were fairly high in January, just over 1.4 million, of which nearly $700,000 is for our Preschool for All program, which is sitting in the state comptroller's queue, but we are expecting payment this week for those funds. So everything in the fund balance looks appropriate given our volume.
Any questions for Betty? Okay. Can I get a motion for approving the consolidated financial report?
I'll make a motion, Wilcher.
Second, Fruling-Vogus.
Thank you. Any discussion? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Finan,
Yes.
Dykstra,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Fruling-Vogus,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Kleppel,
Yes.
Goss, Kyles, Wilcher,
Yes.
Olween,
Yes.
and Marlin.
Yes,
Thank you.
that motion passes. Next is list of bills.
Yeah, so this volume of bill processing is significant given this time of year, but given the level of our client services during the pandemic, all of these charges are appropriate, and it just simply speaks to the volume of our programming during this period of time. And there's all charges are appropriate, and there's nothing unusual to report.
Do I hear a motion to accept and place on file the list of bills for January 2021?
So moved, Dykstra.
Could I get a second?
Second,
Second.
Wiltshire.
Second, Wiltshire. Any discussion? We have a roll call vote, please.
Feynman,
Yes.
Dykstra,
Yes.
Smith, Ruling Bogus,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Supple, Boss,
Yes.
Childs, Wiltshire,
Yes.
Alween,
Yes.
and Marla.
Yes,
Thank you.
that motion carries. Next item is an action item. It's approval of the FY21 budget amendment, emergency rental assistance.
Yeah, so this is to recognize receipt of new funding and create a new department in our FY21 budget for emergency rental assistance. This is in the amount of $6,215,623. This funding is from the U.S. Department of the Treasury. Nationally, $25 billion was made available to assist rental households that are unable to pay rent and utilities, which includes power, water, and sewer bills due to the COVID pandemic. The Regional Planning Commission will administer the $6.2 million allocated to serve renters in Champaign County. This program will prioritize payment of existing housing-related arrears that could result in eviction of an eligible household, plus an additional 3 months of rent if grant funds are still remaining. Assistance will be available for eligible households and will not be duplicative of any other federal funding that is available to provide such households with assistance. An eligible household is defined as a renter household in which one or more individuals meets these criteria. They have to qualify for unemployment or have been experiencing a reduction in household income, incurred significant costs, or experienced a financial hardship during the COVID pandemic. They also have to demonstrate a risk of experiencing homelessness or housing instability. They have to have household income at or below 80% of the area median. Prioritizing assistance will be for those households who have been unemployed for at least 90 days prior to their application for these services, and with income at or below 50% of the area median. 90% of these funds will be used for direct financial assistance. Remaining funds are available for program and administrative costs, which are significant given the level of eligibility determination, monitoring, oversight, responsibilities, and reporting. We're required to collect information from households and retain records for a number of areas that I've identified in this budget amendment. We have already received over 1,000 applications for this assistance, and the staff is working dedicated to this effort because there is so much need in our community. So I request approval of this budget amendment in the amount of $6.2 million.
I get a motion to get this item before the board.
Yeah, I'd like to make the motion, Dennis Roberts.
Second, Patterson.
Moved by Roberts, seconded by Patterson. Any discussion?
Yes, this is Brown. I had a question. Is this new additional money, or is this just still part of what we, I know maybe a couple months ago, you guys had reached out to find out from a utility side who was needing assistance. Is this additional money?
Yes, this is new money.
Wow, it's a lot.
It sure is, and it's going to take a heroic effort on the part of the Community Services Division to manage these funds. We have until December 31st to obligate these funds, but right now, given the level of outreach, we've posted this in the News Gazette and on social media and other platforms. We're getting a lot of interest. So I think it's going to be a very popular program, and hopefully we're going to be able to reach the folks that are most in need in our community.
Can you please have someone email me something that we can put on our social media here in Mahomet? Since I know Delitz and I talked yesterday, we do have quite a few issues here in the community, not just the village, but in the Mahomet community in general. I know the last time we put something on our Facebook and our social media, but I just want to get some additional information up there to try to promote this. Thanks a lot.
Yes, we'll follow up with you on that.
Any other questions?
Yeah, this is Jim Goss. I had a quick question. Betty, is 80% of the area median, 80% of the county income median, or is it by census tract, or do you know what that metric is?
I'm going to defer to Delitzo on that. I don't know if Lisa's on this call. I think it's the county median.
She's not, but I can find out.
Okay, I'd just be curious because it's obviously wildly different in certain areas.
Any other questions?
No, I'd just like to say it's really an important thing to have this funding, because people are being so affected by their ability to survive in this pandemic era. And now we're going into a whole second year. I just wonder if there's enough funding for the administration part. It sounds like it's an administration heavy task, and I just thought maybe will that cover the needs of the RPC to monitor it?
Well, we've allocated 10%, which is the maximum for program and, financial fiscal administration. And what we're doing is we're trying to use our existing case managers as well as some of our existing staff so that we can deploy people, but we're also hiring people to manage this. So yes, I think it's going to be a stretch, but I believe we'll be able to stay within the 10% limit.
Okay, sounds positive.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a roll call vote, please.
Feinen,
Yes.
Dykstra,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Ruling Bogus, Brown,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Plepel,
Yes.
Goss,
Yes.
Kyles, Wiltshire,
Yes.
Olween,
Yes.
and Marlin.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank
This
you.
is, excuse me, this is Frilling Bogus. I lost my connection for a second, but I'm a yes.
Okay, thank you.
That motion carries. Next item is the Head Start, Early Head Start Management Report.
Brand is not here, but her report is included in the packet for your review.
Did anyone have any questions on that? I'm not sure anyone's there who can answer them, but no. Okay. All right, do I get a motion? May I have a motion to approve the Head Start Management Report, including the financials and service area reports?
So
Mayor
moved.
Smith.
I'll second that. Wiltshire.
Who moved that, please?
Mayor Smith.
Okay, seconded by Wiltshire. Any discussion? Okay, maybe we have a roll call vote.
Feinen,
Yes.
Dykstra,
Yes.
Yes.
Ruling Bogus,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Plepel,
Yes.
Goss,
Yes.
Kyles,
Yes.
Wiltshire,
Yes.
Olween,
Yes.
and Marlin, please.
Yes,
Thank
that
you.
motion carries. Next up are the program division updates. Betty Murphy.
Sure. So just a couple of things. We're in the process right now of closing out our Head Start, Early Head Start, and our Early Head Start expansion grants that terminate on February 28th. We've obligated all funds under those program areas, and we just received our continuation award this week, effective March 1st, for those 3 grant programs in the amount of $7.4 million to serve 666 infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. So we're pleased about that. We're preparing for Workforce Division fiscal and program compliance monitoring with the State Department of Commerce the week of March 8th. And we're also preparing for a Head Start Focus Group 1 virtual monitoring visit that we anticipate in the next several months. We are working with the Workforce Division to review RFP responses to our recent solicitation for rural youth providers in our 4 outer counties in our Workforce Division. We continue to participate in the customized design of the Tyler ERP platform with county officials, and that seems to be progressing according to the planned timeline. We're also developing an MOU budget with our one-stop partners at the Workforce Division and getting ready to respond to a new solicitation for the one-stop operator effective July 1st. And that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Betty? Okay. We'll move on to Human Resources. Becky?
Thank you so much, Mayor. Good morning, everybody. The Human Resources report included in your packet today represent personnel transactions from January 10th, 2021 through February 13th, 2021. RPC currently has 418 active employees, which includes 100 work experience participants. The Human Resources Department has been focused on several staffing strategies to attract, motivate, and retain qualified staff amongst the challenges presented by COVID-19. The management team is working strategically to fill 21 positions as soon as possible. Our team is constantly developing our recruitment strategies by connecting with local colleges and high school youth employment programs and partnering with minority and veterans organizations. As I have mentioned at previous meetings, our team has initiated the early stages of implementing the human capital management system. Over the last 2 months, the Human Resources Department has been working with Munis Tyler and the IT department to complete the initial setup structure of the applicant tracking and benefit compensation modules. In mid-January, DCFS conducted a monitoring visit of our CECC early childhood sites, seeking review of background checks, employee physicals, education credentials, and reference checks. I'm happy to report that there were no non-compliance issues cited during the audit. As we are constantly working on retaining talent with the agency, the senior management team is reviewing trends with turnover agency-wide and by department. Some of the most frequent reasons for turnover include new job opportunities, personal reasons, and the conclusion of temporary assignments. We will continue to work as a team to develop strategies to maintain valuable talent, to achieve the agency goals. Our team is constantly working on our diversity, inclusion, and equity goals. In efforts to support our organizational goals, our Cultural Competency Committee met earlier this month to discuss and refine the annual Cultural Competency Plan. We are also working on developing the agency's affirmative action plan with the goal of completing the AAP by May 1st this year. In honor of Black History Month, we hosted an employee virtual lunch this week with a friendly competition trivia game about leaders and key events throughout history. Delizzo attended the event, and the record stands that he beat me by 1 point. On a final note, our team has started planning for our annual employee recognition event that will be held virtually, again this year on April 28th. And I'd be happy to answer any questions this morning.
I've got one, Becky.
Go ahead, Dennis.
You mentioned that one of the things that you are engaged in is the high school and youth employment organizations.
Yes.
Can you expand that? I wouldn't be aware necessarily of what those organizations would be. I'd be interested to know about them.
Oh, sure. I mean, for several summers, we have worked with the YES program that is coordinated through the city of Champaign, as well as multiple high schools here in town and in Mahomet, St. Joe as well. We coordinate with the summer youth programs in efforts to run the payroll for those students who are participating in the program. But during that, those programs, we also are working to find, qualified students who may be a good fit for our organization, particularly with social service internships, as well as we have had students assigned in the Head Start program as well. So that's an excellent stepping stone and pipeline of talent. We are also in the process of developing a very strategic program that will do more outreach, even in Vermilion County, Douglas County, in order to get the talent pipeline to be able to support the vacancies and growth of the RPC.
So you're looking for interns, people who would be interested in serving as an intern and getting experience, maybe in social service, coordinating and outreach.
Well, yes, but one of the most successful strategies that we have had in the past is recruiting from the high schools teacher aides, because we have a robust program to be able to train teacher aides to get their certification in early child development within really 90 days of coming on board. And then as long as funds are available, we also support the development into associate and bachelor's degrees. So it's a really good opportunities for particularly students in our community who have a passion to help children develop their educational skills. So.
Okay, thanks. That's good background.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Dennis.
Hey, this is Will Kiles. I just wanted to thank you for the efforts that you're doing. Particularly, I love both the social piece and the economic development. We know that when youth, and there's been countless testimonies I'm part of that system of being able to have programs and products that help us develop. I was a part of a lot of those job programs and developing the soft skills. So I know that there's power in that. And I think that as we continue to work with agencies and organizations that are doing the work, that's definitely going to impact our youth. And it's actually going to continue to impact our mission as it pertains to, while it's not probably in our direct statement, some of the other issues that are happening in our society. So particularly with, speaking from an African-American standpoint, not the only African-American, but just my viewpoint, economic development and opportunities at a young age, and even what we can do to help families is so important. We talk about the youth a lot, but we forget that these people go home, these young guys, young women go home to families. And so with that being said, whatever we're doing to empower families as well is in my eyes, an amazing thing. So thank you for the work. Let's keep it up. Also, lastly, I would say, I know that you I'm pretty sure that you're familiar with First Followers, Marlon Mitchell. And the reason why I bring his name up and the organization up is because they're engaged and involved in helping youth develop skills, particularly between a demographic that most people don't really reach, and that's the 18 to 24 age. After you get 18, hit the bricks. That's what they tell you, and that's pretty much how life is set up. No matter how people say it, no matter how people look at it, they're like, they're kids. In my opinion, that's a bunch of, making people feel good, because society, after we turn 18, doesn't treat us like kids. And so maybe I'm getting a little bit fired up. So I'm going to just end those comments in a thank you. And let's continue to keep those efforts and work that you're doing up. And anything I can do to help and assist, because this is one of my passions, life purposes, I'm definitely willing to lend a hand.
Councilmember Kyles, this is Delissa. Just to let you know that First Followers has been a youth provider of ours through our workforce program, I believe, for the last 3 years. So we've partnered with them to provide exactly what you're talking about.
That's definitely great to know because again, like I said, there aren't a lot of programs that are reaching out. They're just not the way our system is designed, not the way our country is designed. After you turn 18, all those mentorship programs and all that kind of stuff that people like talk about, they exist, but a lot of times they really don't exist in an abundance. So if you don't get it by 18, the reality is, you know, you might get a little job program every now and then, but by the time you turn 21, if you don't have it by then, like for all of it's just not there. And so it's important for us to talk about this maybe in another meeting. But after 21, when we talk about racial disparities, when we talk about communities that have been underdeveloped and not underinvested in, and things along that nature for decades, that impact is some of the reason why we see a lot of the issues that we see today, is because we're trying to fight something that may have started in 1985, and so all of the things that we're doing to help, whether it's the Head Start program, things that we talk about, the workforce diversity, economic development as pertains to our entrepreneurship, learning about new companies that exist is important.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Kiles. It's an honor, and thank you.
Thank you.
And I can speak from direct experience. 18-year-olds are still our kids. So we need to make sure the supports are in place for years after that. Next up is Community Services, Lisa Benson.
So Lisa is not here. Obviously, she's really knee deep in getting this emergency rental assistance program operating. I will highlight a few things from her division. One, given I know we spent some time discussing the budget amendment related to the emergency rental assistance, but there's some other key data just to share with the commissioners. So far, we have over 1,300 appointments that have been scheduled. And we're going to be probably shutting this off next week just to process those applications as they come through. We're expecting to serve anywhere up close to approximately 1,500 households once this is fully operational. One other key thing to share with you is that we've had a couple landlord forums. So we've engaged our landlords in our Champaign County community to help us do the outreach to their respective tenants. And so we are anticipating about 50 to 75 applications that will be submitted to us as a result of our engagement of our landlords. One other thing to share with you as well is, besides paying any rental arrears, these resources can also go towards assisting with past due utility bills. Particularly, I think right now we're looking at Ameren power bills that are in excess of $1,000. So the staff, as Betty pointed out in the budget amendment discussion, have truly dedicated to making this a success. And I know they're working through the weekend in getting all this information processed. The other thing I want to share with you as well, in another program within community services, which is our LAHI program. And I want to certainly recognize Lisa's team for the great work that they've done, particularly since Labor Day, when we started seeing, actually, no, it was since July 27th when we started seeing individuals in person, which is not the same with the other 34 agencies in the state. And I think our staff have really taken the risk, but really wanting to meet with the public. And as a result, our agency is one of the leading agencies in the state out of 35 community-based organizations that provide LAHIP assistance. The volume that we have processed here in Champaign, as well as the number of applications that have actually been funded and been credited through the respective utilities, the state has been looking to us to provide guidance to other agencies so that their efforts can be ramped up, because there is a ton of resources that has been made available both from the state as well as from the federal government. And it's really critical that we make sure that these resources get to the individuals that truly need it, especially during this very difficult time. So I know that her division is dealing with a lot of numerous programs, and to Patrick's question, there are some programs that are existing that just had enhanced funding, but there's some other projects that we're working on that are new funding. But given the fact that we have the internal processes already in place, I think it's been a natural fit for those resources to be deployed through our agency. Those would be the two main things that I would highlight from Lisa's division. One last thing, I just want to commend the mayors and the leaders of our community for the advocacy that you do on behalf of our residents, particularly with our utilities when they're being shut off. And I know many of you were involved in joint letters that were sent to Ameren, and it hasn't gone unnoticed or unrecognized. So I just want to thank you, all of our community leaders for that great effort. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Delitzo. Any questions? Hey, Delitzo, I did have a question. Do you happen to know if is there a cap on how much assistance an individual household can receive?
Yes, so the reimbursement range, I believe, is from $215 to about $7,200. So
Per household?
per household, yes.
Wow, okay. And when you say you got 50 to 75 applications from landlords, that's 50 to 75 households. They've applied on behalf of households, their tenants.
I will have to double check if that's households or units. But from what she told me, we had about 40 landlords that participated in our forum. So I will double check with her if that's household or units.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to Rita for
Good
planning.
morning,
and community
everyone.
development.
Good morning, everyone. You have in the packet the proposed RPC membership fees for fiscal year 22, along with the proposed scope of services and proposed budget. Last Friday, February 19, we presented this proposed scope of services and budget to the RPC Technical Committee for review and discussion, and they did not indicate any concerns. At this time, we are not requesting any increases. As you can see on the table on the second page, there are new population estimates for 2019. We usually change the fees based on new population. However, knowing the impact of COVID-19 on the RPC member agency budgets, we are not proposing any fee increases. We are presenting the information at this time for review and discussion, and we are hoping to get the membership fees for fiscal year 22 approved at the next RPC board meeting. And if you have any questions, please let me know. The following pages on the packet present the detailed information regarding scope of services, budget that were reviewed by the members of the RPC Technical Committee. Questions?
Any questions for Rita? Apparently not. Thank you, Rita.
I have one more thing that I want to provide an update on, and I'm going to share my screen quickly. Here. And this is information from, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Are you looking at the demographic trends at this time?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is the most recent data from the American Community Survey. This is important information because probably you have seen in several news that Illinois have been losing population. Well, we are the second largest, the second county who have one population in Illinois. We have had a 3% increase from the 2010 to 2014. This is the population that was released was the 2015 to 2019. The latest was 2010 to 2014. We have a 3% increase in population. The county with the largest increase in population was Kendall County. Other important items was that we surpassed the 50,000 foreign-born population in Champaign County. We'll be releasing a summary of all this information to everyone. We are preparing a press release with all this. The average family size grew slightly. One of the downs on the information is that we had a larger increase on the number of rental occupied households than versus the number of owner occupied households. One number that was surprising to us was the increase on the median family income, increased by $12,000 since the period from 2010 to 2014. And the population below the poverty level fell from 22.7% to 20%, which is great news. Population holding a bachelor degree or higher grew from 42.6% to 45.1%, which is a higher proportion than McLean, Macon, Peoria, and Sangamon counties. And that's not surprising to us. We also look at the transportation trends. And on driving to work, we have, regarding mode share, 79% of people driving to work. But if you compare those numbers with McLean, Peoria, Sangamon, and Macon County, our proportion is lower than in those counties, which is not surprising. When we look at the mean of travel time to work, we still keep the 17.7 minutes to work, which is lower than McLean, Macon, Peoria, and Sangamon County. And we look at those numbers historically in other counties, and those have been increasing in those counties too. And in our county has stayed at the same level. When we look at active transportation, that means walking, biking, and public transportation. Walking to work in Champaign County is at 8%, which is significant. It's really high. Public transportation to work is 5.7%. Bike to work is 2.3%. This is for the whole county. I'm not talking about urban area versus rural area. It's the whole county. And when we look at the combined mode share in Champaign County is 16%, which is much higher than McLean County, that is only 5.8%. Peoria is 4.5%, Sangamon is 3.6%, and Macon is 3.1%. Then we should be really proud when we talk about transportation, because we are a very active community where we have a really good proportion of people walking, biking, and taking public transportation in our community. As I mentioned it, we are working on preparing a summary of all this information and releasing this information to the public and posting this information in our website, and hopefully you will be able to share that information in your website.
Thank you, Rita. Any questions for Rita? I know one area I've never actually fully understood is how the poverty statistics account for the huge student population we have.
That's why the numbers of poverty are so high, because the students are counted as those within those numbers of poverty.
So they're counted as a household.
Yes.
Okay. Has
That's why
there ever been an attempt to tease out the student population?
we have tried, but it's so difficult to take out the student population because they are dispersed throughout the whole community. Then it's difficult to remove that population from the whole count.
Yeah. I understand there are students who truly are, there's different categories of students too, in terms of their dependency on their parents or other sources of income. So, okay,
Exactly.
That's good to know, at least. It's
Yeah.
good to know.
But even with that, we have a reduction on poverty level.
Yeah, that's
an increase on the median level income, which was significant.
Yeah.
That was surprising to us.
Wow. Okay. Next,
Okay.
Any other questions? Is that a hand up, Tammy? Oh, okay. Okay, Justin.
Morning, everybody. Commissioner Kyles and Becky earlier were talking a little bit about workforce development, and that was a really interesting conversation. To kind of tie back to that, when we're talking about how COVID has affected our communities, families, you're talking about a lot of people who lost their jobs in retail and hospitality and the creative arts. One of the ways that we want to deal with that is to get people to come in, get some career counseling, maybe go back to school for an in-demand job in manufacturing or logistics or healthcare or information technology. And we have the funds to send 80 people to school within the next 3 months, up to $16,500 each. So if there's folks like Mr. Kyles and other people on this call that can help us reach out to communities and get people in, get them enrolled and get them into our program, that would be really helpful, because we want to help those families, but we're struggling to get them in the door. So we'd appreciate any help from this group in getting them in. It'd be super helpful. But we are going to keep working to try and serve those families and get them into a meaningful new career. We're working with businesses. The big thing affecting businesses now is because of what's happened with the workforce is they're just needing more training, and their new employees especially are needing mentoring and training. Just to remind this group, workforce development has on-the-job training where for the first 6 months of an employee's tenure, we can pay up to half of their wages and provide support services. That includes monthly career counseling and coaching, transportation, childcare, uniforms, and tools. We are connecting with employers to let them know and remind them about on-the-job training and about our training grants that can match up to half the cost of the training they're providing to new employees and employees looking for a promotion. But we also invite this group to let employers know to contact us for training grants and for on-the-job training with new employees. We're partnering with social service organizations to reach out to communities and try and get families and youth connected to workforce development activities. Recently, one example is there's a recovery home that has 12 people that I think it's like 8 weeks, are getting ready to go into an outpatient therapy, and we're going to partner with them to provide job training and resume writing and interviewing and coaching as they go back to school, and maybe we can do some of that on the job training. And that's one example of how we're trying to partner with community organizations and try and make sure, per the discussion earlier, that our services are really getting out to the community at large and that most people know about them and can take advantage of them. We are working with youth right now, and as you brought up, Marlon and First Followers, one of the first things we did when I came on board was the unions were talking about the lack of people of color being able to apply for their apprenticeship and pass the tests. And Marlon was interested in helping people become apprenticeships, and we got together and talked about how he could become an apprenticeship program. So we are working on workforce issues and social justice issues in the community and Marlon is a great resource with that. To that end, as far as social justice, we are spending the next 2 months completing this project with the University of Illinois, thinking about what the future of workforce development could look like in our community. That's bringing a lot of people around the table to talk about how to help different job seekers, different employers with workforce development issues through a social justice lens. And I'm kind of excited about that. And then finally with youth, to go back to that, there is some funding out there to develop programs around career pathways. And there's some interest, I think, with Parkland, and there's some interest probably with our CTE programs in the high school to more intentionally develop youth programs around business or career and tech ed pathways and how those reach Parkland. So we'll be working on that over the next couple of months, trying to develop programs to support some of those unemployed youth, be more aware of the different opportunities in our community. And that's it.
Any questions for Dr. Arnold?
Yeah, I
Hey,
do.
Doctor.
I see Jim's hand. Oh, Dennis, go ahead.
Kyle, well, Kyle, I'm excited to talk to Will Kiles about some things too. But so you know, at our last RPC meeting, you mentioned the project that I was sort of interested in promoting for a pathway for young people in the high school age, exactly the age that Will Kiles is talking about, of concern, to get some training in the masonry and bricklaying projects in somewhere in the county or the community. And what are some of the did you find an agency that's interested in it ultimately? You were saying for an agency that might adopt that program and kind of help manage it. Anything happening there?
Sure. So just so the group understands, we have youth providers who decide on what their program is going to be annually, and they put in different deliverables and outcomes and curriculum and projects that they're going to do over a year. And some of them are specialized. So first followers specialize in helping the reentry population with skilled trades like becoming electricians. So we have youth providers that are established with a focus area, with a capacity limit of how many students they can have and take on, and with a thought through curriculum for the year. But when someone from the community has an idea, we do have the ability, because of relationships, to go to different youth providers and say, is your nonprofit a good fit for this idea? And if so, would you like to think through how to take this project on and integrate it into what you plan on doing over the next year? With Mr. Roberts' idea, we threw out the idea of construction trades or skilled trades or bricklaying specifically to try and get some interests. There's been one youth provider who showed some interest, but this is a new experience for them of stopping what they're doing, thinking through a special project in the middle of the year, putting together all the pieces, making a new budget, finding a trainer. So it's just not something that happens overnight. And so we are working on it with them to help them kind of think through what this sort of project would look like. And right now we're still kind of in a design phase.
Right. Well, we found a trainer. I recall that.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah. What's the program that has some interest, perhaps?
Cunningham's Children's Home.
Oh yeah, they expressed interest in that, and they also were offering educational resource space in their building to do the training in. So that's promising to hear that.
They did, yeah. And then they are doing new construction, and they wondered about, could they do some on-site kind of projects? And so they're just kind of thinking it through with our youth team.
Mm-hmm.
And so our youth teams engage with them on a process of kind of discovery and planning.
Great. I hope that works out. I hope you give me updates in the future sometime so that we kind of keep track of that.
Yep, I will.
Hey, thanks.
Yep.
Jim.
Good morning, Justin. I've got, I serve on another board, an alumni association board, that one of our Muhammad teachers is trying to engage high school students in looking more into the trades, and start them at a younger level. And she's trying to help be a conduit. Is it best that I think she needs to talk to you as for guidance and possibly for some programmatic stuff. Is it best to just contact you directly there at the office, or could you send me a contact so I can forward it to her? Name's Jennifer Worley.
Okay, contacting me directly would be best.
Okay.
And what I'm doing is kind of thinking through different people's ideas and see how we can come together. Because Parkland has the manufacturing academy they're trying to do, and then the CTE programs in our county with career exploration and different pathways have the things they have going on. I can talk to your teacher, and we're just trying to think it through about what something could look like for this kind of program. So if she gets a hold of me, I can loop her into the conversation and see what she's thinking and see how to connect her.
That would be great, because I think she could use your guidance. So I will make that.
You need my email?
introduction.
I'll send it to you in the chat.
Yep, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Hello,
Yes.
this is Will. Dr. Arnold, the work that you're doing, obviously, I'm going to say is very important. I think it's one of the things that we have to overcome because it's not a new conversation, which is why the pre-apprenticeship programs are attractive. The reality is that I've watched this process and been a part of this process for a little while now. And what I've noticed is that we're great at telling kids and students about it, but we always tell it. When I listen to it, our marketing and language around it is somewhat, I'm not going to even be politically correct. It's problematic. Listen here. If you tell a kid, well, if you're not good at reading and writing and good at school, you can work with your hands. When you say that, a lot of times what happens is we dismiss the process that individual is going to have to go through when they go through a union process. And so a lot of times when we're telling people, we say this a lot. I hear it a lot. When I say we, I'm not necessarily saying the people in this call, but I'm saying we as society. I've heard it around a lot. If you're not good if you're not good in school, well, then you go into a program, a process where now you have to take a test. So that math that you may not have been good at, well, oh shoot, obviously now I got to take a test that depends upon me having math skills or reading skills and writing skills and interview skills. And so because there's a disconnect between the messaging, then the product that we ultimately receive or get is continuous conversation of how do we get more kids involved in the union, particularly for diversity, our messaging, in my opinion, as a whole. So working around that messaging is critical. Then the second thing that we have to consider is a lot of these trade programs don't always sync with the opportunities available. So figuring out when a union tells me, hey, we need more people, the first thing I ask is how many jobs are available? Because a lot of times what people don't realize is you might have 500 applicants for 5 jobs. 500 applicants for 5 jobs. And so available. And so with that being said, if you don't have, again, you're coming in late to the party with reading skills, math skills, interview skills, all of those things, it's no wonder why we're not necessarily getting the results as much as we want. We've had some results, but not nearly. And I'm pretty confident on this one that we don't have nearly the results that we should have with the work that we put in. And so I think 2 conversations, number 1 being, okay, development in those skills and being able to articulate what a student really needs to be able to secure the steps, understanding the process, and 2, understanding the jobs available, syncing the trade program. Like I've been using the Marlin First Followers program as a great example. If he gets a student ready, which is a great thing, what's the opportunity for that student after after that person goes through that trade program. And so with that being said, that's always the gap. Where are the opportunities? If there are opportunities, people are very, the more opportunities that people are able to realize, the less marketing that we have to do, because somebody said good food will sell itself. People will find those opportunities. There's a place in Rantoul that I found. It's a every year it's the reindeer ranch. The reindeer ranch is in the middle of nowhere. But because people want an experience, they go to the reindeer ranch. They go find it. And so as we see more opportunities, reason why it's hard to get particularly Black youth, because we don't see the opportunities. The more people we see coming out of these programs as successful, the more likely we're going to look at it as a viable option as we're going through our K through 12 experience. Again, I appreciate the work that's being done. Of course, these are some topics I'm very passionate about. And I think because we never really we always stay on the surface with this stuff. I appreciate the conversations that we've had that really get to the underlying reasons why we don't have this. We have the success, but not the success that we really want to see. So thank you. Look forward to continuing to work.
Thank you, Mr. Kiles. I think we're on the same page with a lot of your ideas and concerns. I look forward to kind of working with you on how to address a lot of the issues in our community to make sure that the most people get the most opportunities. And real quick, and then, we'll let someone else go on. But recently I have worked with Rita's staff to make an inventory of employers by industry, by county, and then what those jobs for those employers look like. So what's the starting wage? What's the degree that you need? What training are you going to need, so that we can better communicate? If you go to this program at Parkland, these are the 50 open jobs that you might be competing for in Champaign. We're in the middle of taking that information from Rita's division and putting it into a report. But you're right, is that we're trying to connect the dots. Yep. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Could we get a motion to accept and place on file the division updates?
Sure,
So
I'll make
moved.
the motion.
Second.
Dennis.
Moved by Dennis Roberts, seconded by Deb Finan. Any discussion? Okay, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Finan,
Yes.
Dykstra,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Ruling Bogus,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Sefel,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Kiles,
Yes.
Wiltshire,
Yes.
Olween,
Yes.
and Marlin.
Yes,
Thank you.
that motion carries. Next is our CEO management report. DeLizzo.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. One of the things that I just wanted to highlight, and I think it sort of touches on everything else that's been shared with the commissioners this morning, is in this environment that we've been operating in now for a year, it really necessitates for us to really think about how we not only plan for the immediate future, but also long-term. So we're looking at a strategic planning process that may not be the conventional way, but I think it's very critical for us as an organization to look at critical issues like data and technology, how that gets integrated in the work that we do, especially now when some programs, I think we will have to ensure that folks that we're trying to serve can access our information effectively online, and how can we facilitate that? Staffing is going to be another area that I think we have to spend some time looking at in terms of key positions that we need here, the Regional Planning Commission, but in tying back to something Director of Human Resources talked about, is how do we ensure engagement and retention of staff in all of our divisions. And then I think another area which most organizations are grappling with right now is physical space. How do we continue to utilize physical space when we've been able to demonstrate that some of our work can be done virtually? Probably some of it can be done virtually on a permanent basis. And then the last thing I want to highlight is marketing. In the conversation I had with Patrick yesterday via text, we do have all these programs that in some cases we're not getting full participation. And it's not just Champaign, this is across the state. Thinking through better ways of marketing so that particularly individuals that have not come to us for assistance previously, how do we engage them? How do we get them to not feel, for lack of a better term, ashamed or terrible that they're having to come for help to the Regional Planning Commission? So these will be some internal as well as external conversations that I think we will be engaging on here in the next few months so that we better position ourselves as an agency serving our community in this environment. So that's all I wanted to highlight under my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions for Delitza? Okay, thank you very much. We have one item under old business. And
Mayor, can I ask a question
Sure.
about that? Before we go into closed session, I'm not sure that we need to, because the item was discussed in open session, and I think we're just conforming the contract. If you want me to speak to it, I can, and then if we need to go into closed session to discuss it, we could do that, but maybe we can short circuit doing that.
sounds like a plan. Go ahead.
Patrick Brown very smartly realized when we were looking at the contract last time that the severance package did not conform with recent changes in state law. And our state's attorney's office has reviewed the contract again and has simply updated that provision so that it complies with state law. And that's the change. And the contract had been approved contingent upon state's attorney review. And so we just need to, I guess, either re-adopt the contract or approve that section 14 so that it complies with state law. So I don't think that requires closed session unless anybody has questions about the contract as a whole.
Do you have a copy of the revised language, or can you state that?
I don't have it in front of me. I think it was provided previously. I don't know if Rita can pull it up. It was a change in the timing of how many months of severance we were allowed to give. Delitzo probably knows exactly how many months. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I believe the state statute limits the severance to 20 weeks.
And so the contract previously, I think, had 6 months or something in it, and we've conformed it.
Okay.
And Becky probably has more information.
Yeah, yes, that is correct. The contract language was changed to 20 weeks of severance, which is consistent with state statutes. If you give me a minute, I can probably pull the language up for you.
Yeah, I don't have it.
But that would be the only change.
Well, if people are comfortable with that, I think we can act on that.
So would you like a motion to amend the contract as previously approved to insert the new section 14?
Yes, please.
So moved.
Second Dykstra.
Moved by Deb Fine and seconded by Joan Dykstra. Any further discussion on this? Okay, I think we can go ahead and call the roll.
Lyman,
Yes.
Dykstra,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Ruling Bogus,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Pepple, Yes. Goss,
Yes.
Kyles,
Yes.
Wiltshire, and Owen, and Marlon.
Yes. Wiltshire.
Yes, that motion carries. And I'd like to give special thanks to Mayor Deb Finan for taking the lead on this legal aspects of the contract. It's very much appreciated.
I want to thank Patrick Brown for knowing the change in state law.
And thank you, Patrick. Next item is any new business. Doesn't appear to be any. With that, then we will stand adjourned.